Your next design tool is Type. This is the best topic ever, and I saved it for last. Type is really powerful, and it's really rich. Your visual voice will take on a whole new meaning when you use typography to be your voice when you are not present to speak for yourself. Voice without tone or inflection is monotone, flat, uninteresting. Your audience loses attention. Same is true for your visual voice. Can you imagine the words on the page you created speaking to your audience in accent, tone, inflection, and loudness like the cast of a play or an a cappella group? Isn't that an amazing thing to imagine about a project or presentation that you created? Type is your real or imagined voice in full-on character that speaks to your reader when you're not around. And how does it do that? I'm so glad that you asked. When you're finished talking type, you will never look at fonts the same way again. Here's a few rules. It is possible to develop an appreciation for the power of type, to be both verbal and visual at the same time. Choose two contrasting styles. If your primary type is a serif style, then combine it with a sans serif style. Serifs are the ones that have the wings on the edges of the typeface. Sans serif don't have any of those wings. Or you can flip that around. If your primary type is a sans serif style, combine it with the serif style. But don't choose two typefaces that are really too similar or low in contrast. And people who know two languages are amazing, aren't they? Now imagine if they could speak both of those languages simultaneously. That's a crazy idea, isn't it? But not for type. Type is both verbal and visual at the same time. It's like being able to talk and draw a picture at the same time. The best use of type is to make sure that the verbal matches the visual. That's when the power of type really comes through. Type is the melody of your visual voice. The right choice of type can carry a verbal message further and land it on your audience with greater impact. But before you get carried away with the dual power thing, don't make ransom note designs. Caution! And when using even just 3 typefaces. Can you imagine juggling? Juggling 3 things is really hard. Many of us could possibly manage 2 with the help of a klutz book, but managing 3 becomes really awkward and we often just drop the ball. When using type, it really helps to follow a few rules. So here I call them please don't and please do. I can see that your visual voice is shaping up in your head right now. There are poets in the house who can see it. Graphic organizing peeps can see it. And writers who like to outline their thoughts can see it. Do you see it? You can achieve wow status at the printer in your teacher prep rooms by following a few more of these do's and don'ts. You know about that teacher prep room where you have that shared printer. Don't you want your work to come out and everyone gathers around and says, "How did you do that?" Just follow a few of these rules. Don't mix moods and combine fonts that are of complementary moods. What's next? Keep it simple and sophisticated. Just kiss it. Do you feel that power to achieve creative graphic design superstardom? Is it growing inside of you? Well, listen, we're almost done, and I'm confident if you don't feel it now, you will feel your creative mojo pretty soon. If nothing else, you know you can follow these rules. They're just applying rules. We're educators. We know how to apply rules. So here's rule number 1 of all those projects. Just kiss it. Add sophistication with simplicity by using the different weights of fonts from one type family, like Helvetica, for example. You can use fonts that are of similar time eras or genres. There's one last thing about type. The bestest of the best for the last to help you achieve graphic design superpowers, to bring spring to your visual voice. In my utopian world of visual voice, a cappella presentations with harmonious graphic design and typefaces, there is no justification for criminal typefaces. I would only give jail space for a few of these type outcasts. When using type, I plead with you from the bottom of my compassionate type heart, don't invite these type criminals into your project space. You're recognizing some of your criminal typefaces up here, aren't you? Let's identify them. Lucida handwriting. Papyrus. Oh, I can hear the groans now. What about the scratchy style calligraphy? And Bradley handwriting. Bet you didn't know that's what it was called, huh? And now the last of the criminal outcast types. Wait for it. Wait for it. The typeface that shall not be spoken. Now, that was all done in good humor. And why do I pick on these particular typefaces? Overuse, inappropriate use for the message, visually represents the wrong tone or voice for the message. For example, my son's second grade teacher sends a letter home to parents in the typeface that shall not be named. What? Don't use that visual voice with me. I'm an adult. Before closing out our time, here are the credits for the images that I used under Creative Commons license attribution, which basically states, give credit to whom it is due. Our visual voice exploration is coming to a close. We've had a bit of philosophy with practical application, and I've had a lot of fun guiding this journey and sincerely hope that you will see better so that your work will speak better and speak well for you when you can't be there to speak for yourself. May your visual voice be strong in all your future projects. Seeing better requires practice and imagination, but not so much the relative concept of creativity. We are all creative. Only the degree of it differs in the areas of our creative expertise. If you started this journey believing you are not graphically creative, I hope you can now see that creativity is possible. Creativity can be simply applying a few rules with the graphic design principles. Before we finish, my advice is this. If you are a teacher or trainer, give these design principles a try right away. If you're an administrator, challenge yourself to change or adapt these principles to your next presentation. TOSAs and lead teachers, use your growing visual voice to guide your professional learning networks to higher levels of visual literacy with good graphic design for improved comprehension. If you are the one who casts vision for your staff, set the example and find additional resources to better serve your students' learning needs. Can you imagine the transformation in your site? Imagine a place where your printed and projected presentations, lessons, instructions, and communications are more visually appealing and understandable. As good as you are now, your audiences, your students, will be able to read and comprehend you much better. We celebrate that kind of achievement. And by your example, you will be teaching visual literacy skills to them and improving their ability to communicate clearly. We can imagine a world where the people we teach and those with whom we work can become better at learning because we are able to more clearly communicate our ideas to them. I sincerely hope, your visual voice speaks as well for you as when you speak for yourself. To continue your visual voice journey of learning, check out these resources or follow me on Twitter or Facebook. And how can I help you? If you need encouragement, tips, and tricks for your next graphic design mojo-enhancing trip, then please contact me. If you would like to know more of how I can help your staff in your district or school site, send me an email. Thanks so much.